Well, the President of Kenya, William Ruto, assents to 3 new bills, including the Income Tax Bill of 2026.
Also in the broadcast, IEBC allays fears of potential electoral malpractice and assures constituents of Emurodicare, Poro Ward and Endo Ward that elections will be free and fair. And also in business.
In business also, if you're earning less than 30,000, there's a proposed bill that could just exempt you from tax. We're going to get the details of that. And also later on, we want to find the state of affairs of the AFCON preparations. All that coming up. But first, a look at our top stories tonight.
I've asked my good brother to support us as we push for the new Africa financial architecture.
Kenya roots for a review of Africa's financial architecture to address high debt servicing.
We are working to build partnerships with French companies so that we can strengthen our financial capability.
Kenya's banking sector is leveraging strategic partnerships to expand access to capital and create more opportunities for the youth. Plus,
the electoral body assures free and fair mini poll on Thursday. Well, thank you so much once again for joining us. I am Mboya.
I am Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Lensa Odingo. Talk to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1, at KBC Digital.
Now to our lead story. Now, Kenya is seeking French support in pushing for a new Africa financial architecture that it will be proposing at the next G7 summit.
President William Ruto says talks of a fair Africa financial architecture will guide Kenya and the rest of the continent in looking at the next phases of engagements and commitments emerging from the Africa Forward Summit.
Well, Alan Aoko attended that summit. He's putting that story together. We're going to bring it to you a little later on. But moving on swiftly, Kenya's banking sector is leveraging strategic partnerships to expand access to capital and also to create more opportunities for young people as the country pushes to strengthen its position as regional innovation and investment hub.
Additionally, collaboration between financial institutions, governments, development partners, and the private sector has been touted as key in unlocking financing for youth-led enterprises and accelerating economic growth across the continent.
Here's that report.
As African leaders, policymakers, and investors converge in Nairobi for the Africa Forward Summit, conversations around financing Africa's growth agenda are taking center stage. Equity Group Managing Director James Mwangi says Africa's youthful populations is one of the continent's greatest economic advantages, and increased investment in entrepreneurship, innovation, and digital skills development remains critical in driving inclusive growth.
The objective here is to try and lengthen the period for which we can offer loans. Is also to get dollar-denominated loans so that we could be able to give those who are exporting loans in form of dollars.
According to Mwangi, technology-driven innovation within the banking sector is helping bridge financing gaps, particularly for small businesses and young entrepreneurs previously excluded from formal credit systems.
We are working to build partnerships with French companies so that we can strengthen our financial capability. We have signed 2 agreements with Propaco, that is the development bank for France. We have an agreement with the French Development Agency, and also we have with the BPI, the 3 financial institutions.
Stakeholders called for increased mentorship and support programs in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields for the next generation of leaders driving Africa's financial and digital transformation.
Anybody who has a passion for science, we are here as examples, but we also mentor, role model, and also coach the young girls. And I think we are already breaking the glass ceiling.
The Africa Forward Summit comes amid growing momentum for African-led banking expansion and cross-border investments as financial institutions seek to strengthen intra-African trade and unlock new economic opportunities. Ndota Mokami for Prime Edition.
President William Ruto has termed the modernization and expansion of the United Nations office at Nairobi as a powerful expression of inclusivity, geographical balance, and the universality of the United Nations system.
Now, speaking during the groundbreaking for the construction of the expanded United Nations office here in Nairobi, Kenya, Assembly Hall, Gigiri, and inaugurating the new United Nations office block alongside the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, President Ruto said that the transformative project will modernize critical infrastructure.
Kamchemenza compiled this report.
Day one of the Africa Forward Summit saw a flurry of activities away from the main venue at the University of Nairobi, as President William Ruto held a series of high-level engagements with global stakeholders. In Gigiri, Nairobi, President Ruto, alongside United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, broke ground for the construction of the expanded United Nations office.
Kenya remains committed and assures you of support for the United Nations through a whole-of-government approach, including what we are investing, close to $1.1 billion of domestic resources in expanding infrastructure.
What has been achieved here is not just buildings, it's a blueprint for the future. The new offices are UNON's first net zero building, powered year-round by on-site solar.
President Ruto indicating that the projected investment will support Nairobi's critical infrastructure, with the UN pledging its support in Africa's transformational strategy.
This project represents a visible and tangible expression of the support of the global community for the issues which directly affect not only us as smaller nations, but it also acknowledges Africa's leadership as a crucible for the solutions through which will emanate from here.
President William Ruto also held talks with Brice Oligui Nguema, the President of the Republic of Gabon, at State House, Nairobi, during his visit to Kenya for the Africa Forward Summit. Top on the agenda of the courtesy call were talks to deepen cooperation between Kenya and Gabon in education through expanded scholarship opportunities, technical and vocational training, and knowledge exchange programs aimed at equipping the young people with skills to drive Africa's economic transformation. The president also took the opportunity to seek President Nguema's support for Kenya's candidate for the judge of the International Criminal Court, Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u. Kamchemenza for Prime Edition.
Well, Alan Aoko's story is now ready, where Kenya is seeking French support in pushing for a new Africa financial architecture that it will be proposing at the next G7 summit.
President William Ruto says talks of a fair Africa financial architecture will guide Kenya and the rest of the continent in looking at the next phases of engagements and commitments emerging from the Africa Forward Summit.
Here now is that report.
According to the African Development Bank, there is an estimated $400 billion in annual development financing gaps, with 23 countries currently in financial distress. Kenya wants this disparity addressed.
And I have asked my good brother to support us as we push for the new Africa financial architecture.
President William Ruto, while speaking alongside his French counterpart, Emmanuel Macron, on the first day of the Africa Forward Summit in Nairobi, said a new African financial architecture will address high debt servicing and reliance on domestic resource mobilization as external debt from private sector creditors skyrockets.
Fair international financial architecture one that recognizes our opportunities, one that does not unfairly judge.
So Africa is developing in an unprecedented fashion. It's the most dynamic continent in the world. Last year, more growth than Southeast Asia. It's a continent where there are more than 1 billion young people.
To curb reliance on foreign aid and to strengthen capital mobilization, Ruto vouched for public-private partnerships between the private sector and government.
You guys are stranded with a lot of money, and we are stranded as in government with a lot of projects. We must find the mechanism that leverages on private sector resources.
The Africa Forward Summit, co-hosted by Kenya and France, has brought together 5 heads of state and 1,500 business leaders to Nairobi, with Kenya aiming to leverage the summit to solidify its position as a strategic gateway for global investment, while pushing for structural changes in how the world engages with the continent.
At the first day of the Africa Forward Summit, delegates here will be looking to balance the critical components, and there are 2: cooperation and mutual respect. Alanauko, Prime Edition.
Let's now have a look at the security aspect in regards to the Africa Forward Summit.
That's right. Nairobi is on high alert as the capital hosts dozens of government and business leaders from right across the globe.
From the skies to the streets, security services went all in to ensure a smooth start to the Africa Forward Summit.
Kasichana Masha reports.
The University Way and Harithuku Road were heavily guarded on Monday, with access limited to those reporting to duty. Employees of the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, the University of Nairobi and the Kenya Cultural Center had to brave scrutiny to make it to their places of work, all in the spirit of creating a safe environment for the star-studded summit that has brought together world leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron. The security arrangement may have been a little bit tight for some Kenyans.
Pass across the bridge. You will see the details of the security everywhere. They want to know where you're heading, the purpose, if you have the card.
Sija feel vibaya. Kwa hivyo mimi naelewa ni kazi wako, mimi si ofisa kama wao, mimi si kati ya watu mashauri wanaongoja hapo. Kwa hivyo naelewa.
The economy of Kenya is top in East Africa and Central Africa. So this is very much in line with our goals and our position as a leading country in Africa.
In the skies, a security helicopter made endless flyovers, circling above the University of Nairobi. Ambulances were also on standby just in case anyone needed a medical emergency. For a street that's familiar with heightened security, Harithuku Road was busier than usual on Monday, with taxis making way for much heavier automobiles. Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Well, it's 14 minutes past the top of the hour. That story bringing us to our first break here on Prime Edition. But coming up,
KBC Huduma partnership. We have details on that with the clarity you deserve.
And also President William Ruto formally introducing the Supreme Court Judge Joki Dungu to the presidents who are attending the African Forward Summit as Kenya's candidate for the International Court at The Hague. Stay with us.
Hebu fikirie environment kama hii hapa Western Kenya. Eti mtu atatoka hapa aende Nairobi kusoma university to conquer the world. Mimi Andrew nitahakikisha hiyo ndoto imezimwa. Tazama hayo yote kwa Gundu KBC Tuesday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. Leo sio kesho.
Nairobi, your time is now. Masani ya kutoka blog na KBC imeamua lazima uomoke. Tutakuwa tunakaa mtaa yako kukuomosha very fast. Jibu maswali zangu 3 tuoneka kweli wewe ni true fan wa KBC Channel 1. Na ukizipata 25K ni yako. So make sure una watch KBC Channel 1. Alafu kinicheki kwa streets. Niulize kana kuomosha leo. Omoka na KBC Channel 1. Wanga bad ni mbaya.
Wagwan my guys, it's your boy Sean MMG. Skiza mage na tuko hapa Grapevine manze, good vibes ukitucheki hapa hivi.
Inspired by the story of Wayaki Wahinga, the musical play revisits the journey of one of Kenya's earliest symbols of resistance. Alchemists and wastelands transformed into a battleground of pure adrenaline as Anza MMA's Amateur Fight Night 008. Chris Barr brought smooth melodies and captivating stage presence, drawing the audience into a performance that felt both personal and powerful.
Welcome back.
To Prime Edition. We apologize for that. We have a little confusion here in the newsroom. But nevertheless, that's what happens. And let's move on to the second part of this live broadcast. President William Ruto has assented to 3 new bills, namely the Income Tax Bill of 2026, the Special Economic Zones Amendment Bill of 2026 as well, and the Technopolis Bill of 2024 at State House here in Nairobi, Kenya.
The new laws are streamlining Kenya's regulatory framework to strengthen the country's position as an attractive investment destination by creating a more efficient, predictable, and competitive business environment.
Here's that report.
And the instructions to place before you these 3 vellums.
The Income Tax Act seeks to provide for exemption from capital gains tax where there is a transfer of property by a company to its shareholders as part of an internal reorganization, or on the transfer of property to the company by the shareholders as consideration for the transfer. Before the enactment of this law, the transfer of property between a company and its shareholders attracted 15% capital gains tax under the Income Tax Act, even though the transaction did not involve external parties and there was no gain. The Special Economic Zones Act seeks to enhance Kenya's competitiveness by expanding the scope of special economic zones to include oil and gas zones and harmonizing the tax incentives applicable to entities undertaking activities within the zones. The Technopolis Act establishes a comprehensive legal framework for the creation, development, and governance of technopolis in Kenya. It also seeks to position Kenya as a leading destination for technology-driven enterprises, innovation, and research by establishing integrated one-stop hubs for the efficient delivery of government services.
The next Presbyterian Church of East Africa, Reverend Julius Numia, who was killed on May 3rd at PCA Tabuga Church Precincts in Bahati by unknown assailants, has been laid to rest in Tetu, Nyeri County.
Opposition leaders who graced the ceremony, led by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, condemned the murder. Give us on minor reports.
Family, friends, and the faithful on Monday gathered in Tetu in Nyeri County to bid farewell to the late PCA Reverend Julius Numia. The cleric was found murdered in Bahati, Nakuru County on May 3rd inside PCA Tabuga church premises. His family and friends eulogized him as a God-fearing servant and peace-loving Kenyan.
ndio wanatushikilia.
Opposition figures, led by DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua, lamented that the church was no longer a safe haven, citing recent cases of hired goons out to disrupt church meetings.
The insecurity in Nakuru is on another level. We are calling for a purge of the security chiefs in Nakuru so that we can have order and people can feel safe.
Gachagua and his opposition allies, including DAP-K leader Eugene Wamalwa, demanded swift justice for the late Reverend.
We'll fight for the justice of your colleague. We'll shout from the rooftop until Mama Esther and her children and the church gets justice.
Reverend Numia did not die a normal death. He was murdered. And indeed, this is a murder most foul. So we are here not just to stand with the family, with the church, but to demand for justice.
Kama mchungaji ataenda hivi na tukose kuona majibu kamili, nadhani ujasiri wa magaindi utaendelea kuwa na kwenda juu.
They also called on the government to assure church leaders of their safety. Police probing the murder have arrested 2 suspects. Give us Mana, Prime Edition.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has assured the electorate that 3 by-elections scheduled for Thursday, the 14th of May 2026 in Emurua Dikir constituency, Poro Ward and Endo Ward will be free and fair, allaying fears of potential electoral malpractice.
At the same time, the IEBC is finalizing its 2024-2029 strategic plan and has given stakeholders a 14-day window to present proposals for consideration. This report was compiled by Yusuf Farah.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission held an external stakeholder validation forum for the 2024-2029 Strategic Plan and Election Operation Plan. Among the key strategy areas in the plan are managing elections, citizen engagement and participation, equitable representation and institutional resilience. IEBC is asking for written submissions from stakeholders before finalizing the strategic plan.
We invite you to interrogate the draft document, identify the gaps, and propose practical, evidence-based recommendations.
The Commission also prioritizes electoral technology in the operation plan and how that will impact in the next general election.
Successful conclusion of this process today and beyond will then help us to map out and decisively handle any electoral challenges and opportunities going into the 2027 general election.
Meanwhile, the electoral body says everything is in place for the Thursday, May 14, 2026 by-elections in Emurua Dikir constituency in Narok County, Poro Ward, Samburu County and Endo Ward in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
We are fully prepared. We have been able to dispatch our materials. Our officers have been trained, and us as commissioners, we are in the picture of everything that is happening, and we are looking forward to ensuring that we shall also have a very successful by-election. Anybody who will be in the ballot paper qualifies to be there, and any person who will be going against the rules and the procedures, we shall not allow anything like that to happen.
IEBC is also preparing for the constitutionally mandated boundaries delimitation process that will be undertaken through a phased approach. Isufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Kenya Broadcasting Corporation and the Huduma Kenya Secretariat have signed an agreement that will see KBC services now taken closer to the public through the Huduma Center platforms.
Public Investments and Assets Management Principal Secretary Cyril Odede says that the partnerships that begins with the Huduma Kenya Makadara Center will be rolled out across the 47 counties within the next year.
Tilio Marco compiled this report.
On Monday at the Huduma Kenya Makadara Center in Nairobi County, Huduma Kenya Secretariat and the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation convened to sign a historic agreement that will save Kenyans money, time and energy of having to travel long distances to the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation headquarters in Nairobi for advertisement services.
This collaboration exemplifies the whole government approach that seeks to break down institutional silos and foster coordination across ministries, departments, and agencies for enhanced service delivery.
Through this partnership, you can now walk into any Huduma center, not just here in Makadara, but across all 59 centers nationwide, and 1. Book an advertisement on KBC.
The partnership that begins with Huduma Kenya Makadara Center in Nairobi before it is rolled out in all the 59 Huduma centers across the country within the next 1 year has been termed as a true implementation of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
This partnership, which, as we've been told, has taken a fairly short time, and congratulations to both managers, MDs, for that speed of execution, is a strategic response to the whole of government doctrine championed by His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto. And it's actually a direct implementation of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
Huduma Kenya Makadara Center serves around 1,500 members of the public on a daily basis. The agreement provides a clear reference of services, accountability, roles and responsibilities, and presents a clear, concise, and measurable description of service availability and quality. It further provides key activities to be undertaken by each party to support quality, efficient, and effective service delivery.
The partnership enables the corporation to leverage its strengths, expands its reach, and remains competitive in a dynamic media environment.
We are integrating with eCitizen so that you can even make more requests from your phone. And we're exploring AI to make the process faster because your time matters.
We are looking towards making Huduma Kenya a really one-stop shop when we finally get to have all front-facing government services being offered in Huduma Center.
The agreement will last for a period of 3 years until either party requests for review for improvements or termination. You must be excited now that services from your national broadcaster are now available near you through the Huduma Center platforms. Tilio Marco reporting for Prime Edition from Makadara.
Wakenya, ni wakati mwingine wa kuhakikisha kuwa umefile KRA returns. Je, uko rada una challenge yoyote? Usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC Channel 1 wanakuja hapo ulipo kusaidia kufile returns na kulipia ushuru wako. Jiunge na msafara wa KRA Roadshow, uwe fiti mambo ya returns. Jumanne ya tarehe 12 mwezi Mei, tutazuru eneo la Nyeri kuanzia Karatina. Tuingie Mkurueni, Othaya, Nyeri Town, Mweiga, Kiawara, Chaka na hatimaye tumalizie na Rumoro. Tarehe 30 Juni iko mlangoni. Usingoje hadi dakika za mwisho. File KRA returns mapema. Ishi bila stress. Jijue, jibeta. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
A continent full of potential, a future full of possibility. The time is now. This May, the world watches Nairobi as Africa and France come together for innovation, growth, and the partnerships that will define our tomorrow. This is the Africa Forward Summit. On May 11th, KBC and Y254 go live from the University of Nairobi for the Africa Forward Business Forum, where 1,500 leaders, CEOs, and young entrepreneurs connect for green growth, AI, and investment. Summit. Then on May 12th, we take you live to the Kenyatta International Convention Center for the main Heads of State Summit, with the main focus being green industrialization and energy transition, reform of the international financial architecture, blue economy, sustainable agriculture, peace and security. Africa Forward Summit, live on KBC Channel 1 and Y254. Don't miss it.
Welcome back to Prime Edition, our socials.
At KBC Channel 1, at KBC Digital.
On to the story that has been compiled by our colleague JJ Kioria. The Kenya Revenue Authority says that it has recorded huge uptakes of the new self-care plan rolled out recently for use by salaried employees to file returns.
In its ongoing campaign dubbed Jijue Jibeta in central Kenya, the authority says it is optimistic to hit the 300 million it targets to mobilize in the region.
Now, after a successful tour of Kiambu County last weekend, the campaign conducted in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation toured Murang'a County.
Hundreds of taxpayers in Kabati, Kenol, Sabasaba, Maragua, Murang'a Town, Kangema and Kiriaini turned up to update their records with the taxman.
The Jijue Jibeta campaign heads to Nyeri County on Tuesday.
We are working with WhatsApp, filing with using WhatsApp, and especially for the people who have smartphones. The people who don't have smartphones, they still have an option of filing using USSD, *222, *5#. The reception has been good so far. We've met so many people who have not necessarily smartphones, but kabambes. Usually it's called Katululu. Yeah, those are the ones we managed to serve so much. So I bet this year we'll be able to get more numbers compared to last year because we've really simplified our solutions.
Nilikuwa nimesikia KRA atapitia hapa Kiriaini. Kasikia kwa radio, kasikia watapitia. Kawa mimi nangoja kwa hamu kwa sababu nilikuwa sijui kufile. Wakati mimi nimekuja hata sijakaa dakika 3 ama 4. Dakika 5 tu kawa nimemaliziwa na kawa niko ready. Hata hii kufile ilikuwa ngumu kwangu wenyewe, ilikuwa ngumu wakati tulionana na hawa.
On to health concerns, Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni has urged nurses in the country to maintain professionalism and remain committed to their work.
Now, during an event celebrating International Nurses Week, the Principal Secretary stressed the need for advanced nursing programs as a measure to promote efficient healthcare delivery in the country.
Here is that report.
Clad in their medical scrubs, nurses set their candles ablaze, a testimony to the resilience and commitment to their work. Speaking at an award ceremony at Nairobi Hospital, Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni emphasized that nurses are the backbone of the healthcare system.
The future of healthcare in Kenya rests heavily on the strength, the dignity, the welfare, and empowerment of our nurses.
Guided by this year's International Nurses Week theme, Our Nurses, Our Future, Empowered Nurses Save Lives, she said that the Ministry of Health is focused on implementing specialized postgraduate programs in order for nursing students to retain talent in the country.
We will go all out to ensure even nurses can also go for postgraduate training and equally enjoy from what the government is offering.
Stella Kanuche, who was recognized for being the most outstanding nurse, urged the government to prioritize mental health services for medical workers.
Listen out to the nurses as they call out for help, for them to help them, so that we can have, even in this country, as you had patients, nurses are leaving the country so much.
In a bid to fast-track achievement of universal healthcare, The Principal Secretary said that the Quality Healthcare and Patient Safety Bill has been presented to Parliament.
That will also cover a lot of what we are talking about, including our nurses, cover our patients, so that we can have an holistic, universal health coverage.
Health experts are using International Nurses Week to ensure that Kenya effectively balances labor export and the efficient delivery of healthcare back home. Joy Naomi reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Community health promoters will, from the 1st of this year, receive comprehensive medical cover under the Social Health Insurance Fund, as well as absorption of universal health coverage workers into permanent and pensionable terms.
Health Cabinet Secretary Eden Duale spoke Monday during the commissioning of a linear accelerator machine for radiation treatment of cancer patients at Coast General Teaching and Referral Hospital, where he said the facility will serve more than 100 patients daily.
The LINAC machine was donated by the International Atomic Energy Agency as part of efforts to strengthen cancer care services in Kenya.
You will have a full social health insurance fund, comprehensive, for our UHC staff. On the 1st of July, the whole payroll and your permanent and pensionable will be taken over by our county governments.
Let's now take you to the corridors of justice. President William Ruto has formally introduced Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u to presidents attending Africa Forward Summit as Kenya's candidate for a seat at the International Criminal Court.
The head of state described Justice Njoki as a judge with an exceptional track record who has shaped the nation's highest constitutional and also criminal jurisprudence.
This report was compiled by Mboya.
President William Ruto introduced Lady Justice Njoki to French President Emmanuel Macron and 3 other heads of state from African nations. Justice Njoki Ndung'u is the principal architect of Kenya's Sexual Offences Act, a law that fundamentally transformed protection for survivors of gender-based violence. She helped build the Maputo Protocol, the African Union's landmark treaty on women's rights, now enshrined across 54 nations. Kenya is vouching for Njoki to join ICC like France and Sierra Leone, which are among the 125 Rome Statute state parties with their own sitting ICC judges. Elsewhere, the High Court has ordered a liquidator, Hamal Bab, to furnish the court with all documents of United Insurance Company Limited within a week.
The option is only within 12 months. You liquidate the company, make the decision to liquidate or revive it. Now, for 21 years, somehow, the Commission of Insurance has found it necessary to keep the statutory management until the liquidation happened.
When the matter came up for hearing, Justice Francis Gikonyo had that the liquidator has not paid creditors for assets close to $500 billion, which has affected people's lives and livelihoods.
I have put a list of 98 claimants, people who are aged, some are dead. I have put a list of people who are amputated, thereby affecting all their lives, and for those 20 years, they have not received a single cent.
The court also had that the mediation held on 1st of December 2025 between the liquidator and the creditors failed due to the liquidator's conduct and disposition.
Tumeanza hii kesi hata kakikia nachoandikiwa kama msichana. Sasa hivi nimezeeka. Sasa tutaimaliza. Imaliza hii kesi kama Mungu amekutuma.
The next hearing is set for 6 July 2026 when Hamal has been ordered to personally appear in court.
I don't pay rent for now.
Okay.
Let's have an invoice and then we shall deal with that question. All right. And then the shareholders and directors to apply for the setting aside of the liquidation order, and they do that within 21 days of today.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has reiterated government's commitment to stand in solidarity with families affected by the tragic gold mine collapse in West Pokot County.
Murkomen says the government has dispatched humanitarian support, including medical assistance, food supplies, and other essential items to support the affected community.
Give us on minor reports.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Muchuma Murkomen on Monday toured Romos area of Kachaliba in West Pokot County, where a gold mine collapse tragedy claimed the lives of 15 people.
Kila familia ambao walipoteza mtu yao, nitatuma county commissioner apelekee familia yao, kila familia 1,100.
Condoling with families of those affected, Murkomen promised government support to rebuild livelihoods. The Cabinet Secretary said similar support will be extended to the families affected by the gold mine collapse in Ogago village, North Sakwa, Siaya County.
Wale ambao wanajimudu kimaisha kwa kuchimba gold, wale wanaitwa artisanal mines, muko na haki ya kufanya ile kazi mnafanya na muko na haki ya kujimudu katika maisha yenu.
Area leaders including Governor Simon Kachapin and lawmakers urge artisanal miners across the country to adhere to safety guidelines to prevent reoccurrence of similar incidents.
Tumepoteza watu hapa, lakini tumepoteza watu wengi, na ile mtu aliongea hapa alisema tumepoteza hii miaka yote kwa sababu ya kutokuwa na usalama.
Give us Mana Prime Edition.
Karibu.
Let's now take you to the counties. The port of Lamu has marked a major milestone after receiving the largest ship ever to dock in the East and Central Africa region, signaling the growing importance of Kenya's newest deep-sea port in regional and international trade.
Now, the massive vessel MV Baltimore, measuring 369 meters in length, arrived at the port of Lamu from the port of Salalah in Oman.
This and more stories make our county news roundup.
Speaking after the vessel docked, the executive manager of the Port of Lamu, Abdulaziz Mzee, said the successful arrival of the giant ship demonstrates the rapid progress the port has made since its official opening.
Watu wanaotuangalia huko nje wawe na confidence na port ya Lamu kwa upande wa kazi, wasione tu kama ni transshipment hub peke yake.
Elsewhere at an event in Mogori Girls High School, Murang'a County, parents were urged to spend more time with their children to recognize early signs of poor mental health as May marks Mental Health Awareness Month.
I want us to practice planting good deeds in our mates. You plant hope, you plant success, you plant victory.
Separately, police officers from Kikuyu Sub-County have launched investigations into a tragic incident in which a mother is suspecting of poisoning her children to death. According to preliminary reports, the woman allegedly locked her children in their rental house, having left a jiko on.
Haki tumehuzunika sana kwa sababu hawa ni watu wadogo, wazazi ni bibi na bwana, lakini wameshindwa kulea watoto kwa sababu tunaweza sema nini?
Meanwhile, leadership wrangles have emerged in the African Holy Spirit Church in Kakamega County, with a section of leaders allied to the current high priest dismissing a rival faction led by the deputy high priest over the legitimacy of the church leadership.
Kama wameamua watu waambie tu jina lao, wawe na jina lao, wasitumie jina letu.
Finally, the Supreme Council of Muslims in Kenya, Isiolo branch, has called on the government to expedite plans to recruit madrasa teachers on permanent and pensionable terms and post them to public, primary and secondary schools. The clergy said the lack of government-employed religious teachers has continued to be a major financial burden on parents.
Once ikiapproviwa walimu wa madrasa wakuwe employed there. At the county level pia, the early child education. Na vile vile TAC.
Joy Naomi reporting for Prime Edition.
Are you ready for the next big thing in tech? Well, we'll spotlight Kenya's brightest young minds, game-changing startups, and breakthrough technology that are shaping our future. From AI and robotics to sustainable futures, we bring you the stories behind the scenes. KBC Channel 1. Remember, tech starts here.
Hebu fikiria environment kama hii hapa Western Kenya. Eti mtu atatoka hapa aende Nairobi kusoma university to conquer the world. Mimi Andrew nitahakikisha hiyo ndoto imezimwa. Tazama hayo yote kwa Gundu KBC Tuesday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. Leo sio kesho.
And good evening. Welcome to Prime Edition Business News. My name is Trevor Ngendo. We hope that you're keeping warm on this very cold day on Monday. Let's begin with finance bill, and if you're earning 30,000 shillings and below monthly, you could be exempted from pay-as-you-earn tax if a proposal in the Finance Bill 2026 is adopted. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi says this, as well as reducing pay-as-you-earn rate for those earning between 30,000 shillings and 50,000 shillings, is among measures expected to be introduced in the Finance Bill 2026 to cushion low-income workers. Take a look.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi says he plans to introduce measures in the Finance Bill 2026 exempting salaried workers earning less than 30,000 shillings a month from pay as you earn, as well as reduce the rate for those earning between 30,000 shillings and 50,000 shillings from the current 30% to 20%. National Treasury now says the proposal might be factored in the final amendments of the Finance Bill 2026 after missing out in the published draft.
So chances are that very high that these amendments will be carried in this finance bill, not waiting for tax laws amendment. We were just watching because, you know, we have up to June to be able to conclude. So we were doing simulations, assessing, and looking at the records from Kenya Revenue Authority.
The draft Finance Bill 2026 introduces tax for companies involved in making ATMs and other bank cards.
Those who create the cards which these financial institutions use, they make money in millions. And why should a mama mboga in the street pay tax and you make millions out of a bank and you don't pay? You know, that is the contradiction that I don't understand.
He says the tax filing schedules are being revised to reduce overload of Kenya Revenue Authority systems during tax filing deadlines.
It is training because everybody waits until June. So we are saying majority should file their returns by April.
The draft Finance Bill 2026 has proposals to give Kenya Revenue Authority powers to monitor financial transactions.
It is financial records. They are not going to ask who is my girlfriend. They have nothing to do with who is your spouse or who. That is your private data. But information about your financial records anywhere in the world should be public.
Badi projects that the Finance Bill 2026 will generate at least 130 billion shillings. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Benson Rioba, for that story. Of course, it's something that we'll continue to monitor and see as we head towards the Finance Bill 2026 adoption and the budget reading. We continue, and there is need to consolidate and share information on artificial intelligence and digital technologies to support scaling up local tech startups. Speaking at the side of on the sidelines of the Africa Forward Summit, Information, Communication and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo said that regional artificial intelligence will promote technology sovereignty and reduce importation of technology-related products.
Nova Garage event is among side events of the ongoing Africa Forward Summit. At the event, 15 innovators drawn from across 8 African countries were offered an opportunity to pitch to potential investors. Here, the rallying call was increasing investment in local startups to promote technology sovereignty and reduce reliance on foreign-sourced tech solutions.
If we put our act together, the next 3-4 years, Africa will be different. And more so after we clear problems.
For a very long time, here in Africa, we've been consumers rather than builders. This time round, we want to build our own. And the reason why we call it garage is because everything good comes from a garage.
Speakers highlighted the need for ICT, and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo says Kenya is pushing for enhancing protection of intellectual property and copyrights to ensure local innovators benefit from their inventions.
Founders and businesses require reliable infrastructure, supportive regulation, access to talent, functioning digital systems, and opportunities to scale beyond domestic markets.
In terms of looking at the laws that are regulating royalties and also IPs, so as KBC and as other financial institutions would be able to support innovators and those in the creative space to be actually able to access this financing and scale their businesses.
They called on countries in Africa to embrace common incubation for local startups to promote peer-to-peer information sharing.
Achieving this requires a strong collaboration between government, development finance institutions, the private sector, investors, and innovation ecosystems to fully unlock Africa's potential.
Ratemo said the Kenya Development Corporation is increasing support for startups to scale their operations. Benson Rioba, reporting for Prime Edition.
Let's talk agriculture now, and the International Fund for Agriculture Development is warning that Kenya and other developing countries are likely to face higher food prices in the coming months as the global cost of production increases due to the Middle East war.
The war in the Middle East has disrupted the food supply chain that the International Fund for Agriculture Development warns is likely to distort the agri-systems in most countries.
We are not seeing a direct, right now, effect as we had seen in previous shocks on food prices, but inflation will happen over time.
Alvaro says the International Fund for Agriculture Development is targeting to raise 220 billion shillings to support agriculture systems in developing countries, mainly by targeting to subsidize farm inputs for smallholder farmers.
Replenishment, we mobilized $1.7 billion. For this one, I think that's the minimum we're aiming for. We understand the current challenges, but it's important that many countries and many donors, but also recipient countries, are understanding that food security also underpins stability.
For now, we are focusing our interventions in four main areas. We are focusing interventions in rural finance to ensure that farmers have the right financing to support agricultural activities.
The International Fund for Agriculture Development is also challenging the private sector to increase investment in agriculture.
And we build resilience over time. In the short term, you can obviously try to reduce some of the prices of fertilizers. You can also try to support through cash transfers.
Benson Rioba, reporting for Prime Edition.
The East African Development Bank has launched a new 1.7 billion shillings fund to support youth and women-led enterprises. East African Development Bank Acting Director General Bernard Mono says the kitty is part of efforts to drive inclusive growth across East Africa. Speaking during the bank's Governing Council meeting in Kampala, Uganda, Mono said the cash would be channeled through partner financial institutions across member states.
There is a fund that the Governing Council approved today. We agreed that part of our profits that we made in this year and part of other funds that we have, we dedicate them towards starting a fund that will specifically lend to youth and women in the region at a very affordable cost, which will be converted in local currency in all member states and lent through the partner financial institution to businesses that are run by youth and women.
And let's talk livestock. And Nairobi is hosting a high-level workshop on the Animal Resources Information System, gathering experts from across Africa to strengthen livestock disease surveillance and animal health data systems. Officials from Africa Union, Inter-African Bureau for Animal Resources, World Organization for Animal Health, and the European Union have underscored how reliable data is critical for effective livestock planning and disease control.
We know that good decisions are not based on impressions, they are based on evidence, and therefore we have to provide evidence from data that is accurate, complete, harmonized, and effectively used.
Early detection, which in this case, and outbreaks of diseases, protection of human health, disease detection also go in tandem with improved animal productivity.
It is important to notify emerging diseases as well so that we can collect information about the extent of these diseases, the trends, and so that we can make informed decisions to say, is this the disease has to be listed by OHA so that we can develop standards for its control and management.
And across the borders, Egypt is strengthening its cargo corridor with Italy and the rest of Europe as instability in the Strait of Hormuz pushes countries to seek safer freight routes linking Europe, the Gulf, and Africa. The route has emerged as a possible lifeline as disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz continue to destabilize the global economy. Here are the details of this and other stories in the Business Roundup.
The roll-on-roll-off cargo route that was launched in 2024 links Italy's Trieste port on the Adriatic Sea with Egypt's Damietta port on the Mediterranean. The sea route has now been extended with containers transported either by land or through the Suez Canal to Egypt's Red Sea ports and onto Gulf markets including the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Oman and Qatar. However, the roll-on-roll-off cargo link cannot fully replace the Strait of Hormuz. The drawback is that containers are being loaded and unloaded several times during the trip, limiting volumes that can be transported. Meanwhile, concerns over the risks posed by artificial intelligence have loomed large over a U.S. trial pitting Elon Musk against Sam Altman, co-founders of OpenAI. The trial centers on OpenAI's 2015 founding as a non-profit that later evolved into a for-profit venture. Musk, co-founder of OpenAI, filed the case in August 2024, accusing his fellow co-founder Altman of breaking promises to keep the company a non-profit. Musk is seeking $150 billion in damages and the removal of Altman and Greg Brockman, another OpenAI co-founder and president of the company. Altman in turn accused Musk of trying to hobble the ChatGPT maker for the benefit of his own AI company. Finally, Yemen is experiencing a devastating decline in local wildlife populations due to the prolonged civil war and a severe humanitarian crisis. Environmentalists and ecologists are raising urgent calls for public attention to wildlife protection, warning that many endangered species could face extinction without effective conservation measures. The Yemeni government has identified 57 critical ecological areas, with many of them recognized by international organizations as vital habitats for globally endangered birds, such as the Seka falcon, the peregrine falcon,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya.
Wake up with Good Morning Kenya, the morning show that's got it all. We dive deep into issues shaping our country.
Youth are a voice of a nation.
What is the next step for the young people?
Unpacking political landscape from Monday to Wednesday.
We discuss family matters.
It is very important to guard your relationship.
And for your health.
Someone doesn't wake up and they become an addict. It's in stages.
We've got you covered each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Every Wednesday, it's all about The Viewpoint.
A day in politics is like 1,000 years.
Unpacking the biggest stories of the week, getting you insights and getting you ready for your day.
And the package is not yet done. I get to fix your Thursday with some entertainment. Entertainment Thursday, it is.
Good morning, Kenya.
We shape your day.
Good morning, Kenya. Every weekday morning on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome to sports. Government leaders and sports stakeholders
International Olympic Committee.
The Africa Forward Summit, which kicked off today and is set to culminate Tuesday in Nairobi, Kenya. Day one of the convention saw sports feature among the activities, with speakers of the day expressing optimism that with such high-level engagements with France, Africa was bound to benefit tremendously from the equal-based and balanced partnership.
International Olympic Committee member Paul Tergat, who represented IOC President Casti Coventry, stated that Africa stood a chance to benefit from crucial partnerships with France, noting that the forthcoming Youth Olympic Games in Dakar, Senegal later this year will leave behind a rich legacy and also offer a moment for the continent to showcase its sports talents and depth.
It will leave a lasting legacy by delivering sustainable sports infrastructure, promoting the Olympic values and building human capacity in a new generation of skilled African event professionals.
Former World Women's Marathon record holder Tekla Lorupe, whose academy in Kapenguria has benefited from partnerships with French Development Agency, emphasized the role that sports plays in the society.
We need to invest more in sports so that our youths can be leaders for tomorrow. They cannot go to the streets and fight and throw stones, but they can go to the street to throw balls. They can go to the street to run marathons.
Kenya has recently explored collaborations with France, with the French city of Mihamas hosting Kenyan athletes who camped in the southern France ahead of the 2020 and 2024 Olympic Games.
Of that effort, of that meeting we had, Team Kenya, where I was the chef de mission.
Athlète kenyan et français de notre club d'athlétisme, que nous sommes liés d'amitié avec Paul notamment, mais aussi le CNOC et l'ensemble des directions pour pouvoir travailler ensemble pour les Jeux Olympiques.
And it is thanks to Kenyan athletes who came to train with the Miramas Club of Athletics that we were able to build this strong relationship.
Further partnerships being sought in emerging technological fields in artificial intelligence and sports science. Further partnerships being sought in emerging technological fields in artificial intelligence and sports science as African countries battle to show up their medal tally in newer sporting fields in international competitions. The two-day summit, which has cast the relations between Africa and France under spotlight, is set to come to an end on Tuesday. Reporting for Channel 1 from University of Nairobi grounds, I'm Bernardo Kumu.
President William Ruto has called on Africa to transform sport from a recreational or competitive activity to one that serves the functions of diplomacy, technology, tourism and infrastructure development. Speaking at the high-level sports dialogue at the Africa Forward Summit 2026, the head of state said that taking a pathway that focuses on investment will open opportunities for the continent's sports industry to generate revenue streams that support job creation. He encouraged stadium managers to move away from that current one match a week model to one that includes hospitality, includes conferencing, and also media production. The dialogue brought together President Emmanuel Macron, Botswana's President Duma Boko, and Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye.
Right here in Nairobi, we are developing the Talanta Sports City, not stadium, city, anchored by the world-class Raila Odinga Sports Stadium, alongside state-of-the-art training facilities, hospitality, infrastructure, commercial spaces, including media production centers and smart mobility systems. It is a historic opportunity. an opportunity to build one of the world's most dynamic sports economies. And I'm happy that we are discussing sports and money and economists. An opportunity to turn talent into enterprise, passion into prosperity, and potential into real power.
The Confederation of African Football CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe held a successful meeting today in Nairobi to review the Pamoja AFCON 2027 preparations across Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. The Africa Cup of Nations will be held next year in the 3 East African nations.
Dr. Motsepe commended the significant progress made by the 3 host nations and expressed confidence that Pamoja AFCON 2027 will be a resounding success.
Under your leadership and in partnership with our minister in Kenya, good progress has been made, and this is going to be an enormously successful.
The host nations reaffirmed their commitment to sustain their collaboration to ensure full readiness and to deliver the most successful AFCON in the competition's history.
We work on the hardware, which is the infrastructure and the stadiums. I assure you that we will be working on the software so that we give all the fans across the world a spectacular event. For those who will visit the region, you will be happy and proud of East Africa.
The meeting was attended by Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria, Sports PS Elijah Mwangi, Uganda FA President Moses Magogo, with Sports Minister Peter Ogwang, Tanzania FA President Wallace Karia, with Sports Minister Paul Makonda, and the Pamoja Local Organizing Committee. Michael Mondiga for Channel 1 Sports.
Team Kenya started their campaign with an outright victory in the Africa Paracycling Championship in Abuja, Nigeria, where they won 3 gold, 3 bronze medals. Samuel Mwangi was the toast of the day with 2 gold medals in the men's individual pursuit and 200-meter sprint C3 classification events for limb impairments. Visually impaired Anthony Mugwanja and his sighted guide Njangi Gathura rode to victory 2 in the men's individuals pursuit B before he settled for the bronze in tandem sprint B event. His compatriot Anne Nekesa won 2 bronze medals in the women's individuals pursuit B and tandem sprint B events, sight guided by Julia Muringu. The championship is also a qualifier and ranking event for both the Commonwealth Games and the Los Angeles Olympic Games. Equity Bank's men's handball team continue to dominate the Kenya Handball League after maintaining their lead at the top of the men's table standings following Week 13 fixtures. In the women's category, Ulinzi Sharks are leading the standings with 15 points after a strong campaign so far.
The Bankers have enjoyed an impressive run this season, winning 12 out of 13 of their matches and suffering only 1 defeat. Their strong performances have earned them 24 points, placing them 3 points clear of National Cereals and Produce Board handball team. Ulinzi Shooters currently sit 3rd as the title race gathers momentum. In the women's category, Ulinzi Sharks are leading the standings with 15 points after a strong campaign so far. Nairobi Water are second on 14 points, while National Cereal and Produce Board women's handball team occupy the 3rd place with 13 points. The league resumes this week with matches scheduled to take place at the Nyayo National Stadium and the Kaloleni Handball Court.
And finally, APS Bonnet head coach Sami Pamzo Omolo has been named the Sportspesa League Coach of the Month for April, marking a standout period for both the tactician and his resurgent side. Mara Sugar head coach Francis Xavier finished as the runner-up for the monthly award after also guiding his side to 3 wins, albeit from 1 additional fixture.
The former Kenyan international has overseen a remarkable turnaround at APS Bomet, guiding the team through a challenging stretch of the season with resilience and consistency. His recognition comes during a deeply personal time following the loss of his wife earlier this year. Receiving the award on the Mother's Day, Pamzo delivered an emotional tribute dedicating the honor to his late wife, affectionately known as Mama Denzel, while acknowledging the support of the family and team.
You know, I've been in this league for a long time, and we were really struggling. Until Sports Pesa came in. And this is a very big morale booster for all the teams, and you guys have really done a very good job.
On the beach, APS Bomet enjoyed a flawless April, registering a 100% win record. The team secured victories over Sofapaka, Ulinzi Stars and Posta Rangers, Omolo's former club, keeping clean sheets in all 3 matches.
I really want to dedicate this award to my wife, my late wife. She just left us 5 months back, and she was very inspiring to me, and she really helped me. She has been really helping me through this journey when she was around, and of course I miss her.
Mwana mavijana wanajituma. We've awarded Kevin Wangaya as Player of the Month of Nairobi United, and he's delivered 3 goals and 3 supports for his team, directly winning 7 points. Na leo pia tumekuja ku recognize Pamzo, or better say Sami Omolo, coach of APS Bomet, na pia yeye tumeona venye amepeleka timu yake in the month of April, winning all the 3 matches.
Mara Sugar head coach Xavier finished as the runner-up for the monthly award after also guiding his team to 3 wins, albeit from the 1 additional fixture.
Well, and that does it for the live broadcast tonight. We want to thank you as usual for making us your channel of choice for your news. And
Indeed. Tom, before we go, I don't know, there's a vessel that arrived today at the port of Lamu from Oman. Did you say Salale or what did you say?
I knew you had to go there. By the way, do you know?
It's Salala.
It's Salala.
Yes.
No, what I know is Oman has got 11 provinces, and that's if you look at the southern Darfur province, the capital is called Salala, and it's known for its greenery. It's called the capital city of perfumes. So I got a bit excited.
It's also the famous Salale by the president.
So I got a bit excited, and I laid a lot of emphasis
on
Salala. Yeah, but it's a capital city in Oman.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so we've got to go now.
Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 at KBC Digital. I can hear Hemston, the director, saying time is up, and I can't actually go through all of them.
Okay.
Thank you, and especially on the story that touches on KBC Huduma partnership and the Africa Forward Summit that is underway in the country. I am Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Lensa Odingo.
And I'm Trevor Ngendo. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And I'm Mboya. You know what? We will be back again tomorrow, same time, same place. Good night from all of us.
Today, I have something to celebrate.
Divorce.
Yeah.
Miss, you okay?
I'm fine. My stomach hurts.
Let me help you out. Really should get back at you. As well as the fees, I put some more cash on your account here. order whatever you want to eat.
Oh, you made it. My boyfriend. I want you to be my boyfriend.
Why would you want to be with a doorman? I just don't get it. Hey, if you want a boyfriend, I can introduce someone for